a video for well, just to make it's not necessarily for any one thing in particular, but on the new fractal fret press calls that Jay sent us. And I'm like describing how to describing it, and I'm like, well, because it fractalates on the. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a word, but but I thought it was so funny that I kept saying fractalate.
Fractalate,
yeah. It articulates.
You want the fractisional
yes.
actuation to occur naturally.
That's right, Chris. Hey everybody, it's Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for tuning into
Fracting is bad.
Fracking is not bad.
No, fracting.
Oh, what's fracting?
I don't know.
Is that like some teen thing? I don't. Chris, you're gonna have to.
I'm just trying to be controversial.
You're gonna have to realize that I am not as switched on to what the kids are doing. I'm too old.
I want to see our video on my feed, not my YouTube feed, because that happens all the time. On like Yahoo News or
TikTok,
MSN News or Google Gmail News or whatever it is.
Have you seen? Okay, I'm not on TikTok, but for some reason or other, I get like YouTube shorts and there's these TikTok videos, and one of them is these two kids just beating the hell out of each other, like a brother and sister. They got boxing gloves on.
Yeah,
they're little kids, like maybe 3, and they're just whipping the tar out of each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's terrible, but I think they're like doing like kung fu or something.
You gotta eat kung fu, yeah, I think so. Yeah. You gotta wonder about videos like that and what leads up to that, and who pulls out their camera, and like all those dog rescue videos. Those are fake.
Well,
you know, those poor dogs are thinking they're getting abandoned while that guy pretends to drive off and then drives back and goes.
Well, okay, all right. Here's the thing, and I don't know if it's staged or but if you look up Asian siblings beating the tar out of each other, that's that. Yeah. So
you mean like right now?
Well, yeah, if you want to, yeah. Hey, so Dastardly Dave sent us a super chat and he says, no ads, yes to fun, sponsored by Brian. God bless you, Dave. So Brian Duncan and Ben Duncan are here in the shop today.
The B&B Duncans.
The Dunks are here, and we're going to go get a little food after this. But I am happy to be hanging out with you guys today because we've got a cool topic today, Chris.
Okay.
Did I tell you what it is, or were you just wanting to be surprised? Okay.
But I don't remember.
Now, a lot of people might think, Matt springs this stuff on Chris at the last second. But the fact of the matter is that I asked you at like when you got in today.
You said it, 9:20.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, what are we going to talk about tonight? And I gave you several options.
Which were, I don't know. Yeah. I can't remember what you gave me as an option.
Don't be a dipshit, I think was one of them.
To me?
No.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah, I just, throwing it out there. In what way? Just in all ways.
I said, yeah. Okay. Don't do stupid stuff.
And then you said, I think we've already talked about that a whole bunch.
We seem to talk about it. I think
talk about that all the time.
That seems to be something we talk about all the time. Brian Duncan, who's here in the shop, sent us another super chat, and he says, ad free is for me. As you guys know, the all of our live videos are ad free.
Yeah. I just thought of something.
What's that?
When people are here live, it should be a cash only kind of a thing.
It could be a cash only kind of thing. Hey, but you know what? You know how I say there's no ads? The fact of the matter is I do want to talk about something that is kind of an ad, but at least it's not like car insurance or Girl Scout cookies or whatever, shows up in your feed. I got a text from Dylan today.
Dylan Talks Tone?
Yeah, but it was the text. So it was Dylan Talks Phone. And it was the pre-order is live.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to save it for now because and it was kind of a hard thing for me to do. So I was
a little left out.
I had my headphones in and I was rocking out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna. But okay, so we're gonna talk about the pre-order real quick.
We should talk a lot about that.
We're going to talk for
we should pre-order a guitar
a while about the pre-order, but first I want to take some super chats from Jay, who sent us $20 and says, brought to you by the letters T, T, and G. That's a Sesame Street thing, I think. And Dylan says, ad free is for me. I did it as an expression of my own personal agency. And Van Shank Guitar says, ad-free tip jar. God bless you guys. That's very, very cool of you. Surf City Video, Big Kahuna in Star, Idaho, checking in. Look at that. Surf City Video, the Big Kahuna in Star, Idaho, checking in. You know that
Tim
guy.
Farrell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Tim.
So I don't know if Tim has ever watched us before, but yeah.
I think he's seen snippets of it.
Okay. Well, very cool. So let's talk real quick about the pre-order from Dylan. Okay. As you guys know, now stop me. Feel free to interrupt me if I miss something, because I'm gonna. Dylan is one of our exclusive dealers, right? That is to say, he has a line that you can only get from Dylan. And there were 5 of them. You guys saw them all, right? There were a couple of intergalactic ones, a gold one, a blue one. Mm-hmm. Some of them had P90, some of them had humbucks. Mm-hmm. And they all had hand-painted pinstripes by our buddy Mike Learn.
Yes.
Oh, they also had like a inlay that you can't get from us on a level, whatever. Uh-huh. It was all really custom stuff that Dylan spec'd. Oh, and a completely different bridge than we normally use. Mm-hmm. Glow in the dark side dots. I'm trying to think of all the other stuff that it was. And it was the very first run of guitars that got our new headstock logo. And if you are unfamiliar with our new headstock logo, it is this guy right here. Greg, I think Greg might come by and pick this one up tomorrow, because he said, hey, I want that one. And Greg, when Greg says I want one, it's like that's like if Doug Santaniello says it. That's in the bank for me. So yeah. Uh-huh. Michael Beckloff says ads suck.
Not wrong.
They do.
Hi, Michael. I hope that you are doing well. So Dastardly Dave, who has one of Dylan's Gasser model Challengers, says it's
number 1.
Does he? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dylan's numbering them consecutively.
Okay.
He's not starting in the basement.
No.
And then skipping a number.
So Dylan has on his page, in the guitar section, mm-hmm. There's a drop-down menu of all the different things you get to pick. Now, so you get to pick the color, mm-hmm. you get to pick the pickups, you get to pick whether or not you want hand-painted pins. Because some people might have been like, oh man, I don't really want pinstripes. I just want intergalactic, which would be rad. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted those, you could get those. I think that I did not see, and I didn't I didn't go in and order one, but a lot of people said that they only wanted one pickup. And Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, is that one of the options that you can get? Like, I only want one P90, or, those, all of Dylan's guitars too, they're maple top, Honduran mahogany back and neck, with the black Kingwood fretboard. They're really, really nice. So anyway, Dylan, can people just get one pickup if they want? Or how would you do it, Chris, if you were going to spec one of the Dylan ones?
I would do it. I would do a really cool set of enduro pickups. Mm-hmm. I like the look of the cream rings.
I do too.
Cream stuff. Or against the
especially with the pinstripes that
Mike
did. They match perfectly.
That. I don't know what color I would do, but the black ones were really cool.
They were sexy.
Actually, I liked all 3 colors. I don't know. I haven't thought that much about it. Why? Is somebody gifting me one?
No, I'm just the deal. I'm just asking because I want to tell you what I would make. Okay. Too. So yeah, Dylan says in super chat form, thank you, Dylan. Come to Nashville and play one this weekend. Yes, even only in the neck. So
I think that would be awesome.
Dylan is going to be in.
I would do a neck and middle
at the Amigo Guitar Show, I believe it is, in Nashville. And Graphite and Cigar says, Texas Toast Guitars, I hope you guys are blessed with ice cold beers. Well, thank you so much. We are, sir. Thanks to our good buddies at the Coors Brewery and our good friend Andrew St. Pierre, who bought us that fridge when we moved in here 6 years ago. Why would? Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. That fridge has done yeoman's service.
It has,
to chilling beers.
Yes, it has.
We one time overloaded it with room temperature beers
Oh,
and
yeah.
it took almost a day to get everything pulled again.
Okay, so so Dylan's going to be in Nashville at the Amigo Guitar Show, which sounds really cool. I think there's a bunch of cool vendors that are going to be there and lots of neat stuff. I don't know where it is. Maybe in the same place that they did the. Don't quote me on this, but maybe in the same place they did the Summer NAMM show. Maybe, I don't know. But he's going to have a bunch of pickups. You can just go there. He says he's going to have like 50, 100 pickups. You can buy and I think he's going to have 50 or 100 pickups. Now, some of those are in set form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but if you wanted to go and get like a set of Tele pickups or a set of P90s or a Strat thing, maybe on a wired picker, I don't know.
Yeah.
No waiting. You just go buy it. And bada bing.
Here's how stupid I am.
Okay.
He had a picture the other day on InstaChat in the face tweet.
Insta Google Twit face.
Yeah. And it was of a bunch of pickups.
Yeah.
He said something about the Nashville Amigo guitar show. And I'm looking at all those pickups, and then in the background, I see his screw gun and another tool. And I'm like, is he there now building pickups? And then I'm like, oh no, that's just his workbench.
Oh, you thought maybe he was at the show?
Yeah, I was like, he's already at the show. He's building
feverishly
pickups?
winding.
Yeah. While people wait,
that would be something. Pickups wind while you wait.
It's like getting your hat put on the Pinocchio hat at Disneyland.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure that Dylan's going to be winding like to order.
Yeah.
But that would be funny if he did.
Yeah. I got my name Chris chain stitched onto a hat. I got Dylan pickups.
So
while we rode Pirates of the Caribbean.
Anyhow, so if I were ordering a Dylan Gasser model Challenger, I have a controversial take on this.
Okay.
I would want a humbucker and a P90. And I think that aesthetically, it looks cooler if the P90 is in the neck position and the humbucker is in the bridge position. However, I believe that sonically, it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
So if I was going to get one, I would get something that would be everybody would hate with the P90 in the bridge, like a really sleazy one, and then like a regular PAF style in the neck.
Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense.
It would look plain out goofy though.
Well, except you have guitars like Telecasters with humbuckers in the neck.
Okay, yeah.
And that seems to be an okay thing now. So
okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think it would be okay. You'd have to make them not look ridiculously different to each other, I think, or maybe you go for it and it's just
yeah, chrome with all kinds of scroll work.
And then just the most boring PAF looking thing ever.
I rarely use the neck pickup anyway.
Yeah.
So really, and I love P90s.
Well, and I think that's the reason for doing it.
Yeah, but I also like humbuckers. I don't know.
Well, humbuckers are cool looking because they got a ring around them.
There's stuff
elevator, screws and a bunch of extra stuff, a bunch of pole pieces sticking out. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm imagining that Dylan wanted us to know about this so that we could talk about it tonight. We're not stealing any thunder. I would imagine he was probably letting people know, and he'll talk about it too. But imagine this, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, I really want that blue one. Oh, it's already sold," or the gold one's cool. It's already gone. But I don't know which one of the original 5 are still there or not. But you can get whatever you want. And there were a lot of people who kept asking, can I get this? Can I get that? Well, this is just what the doctor ordered, right? If you were like, I don't see exactly what I want, no sweat. We can do
now
that.
you can.
Now you can get exactly what you want.
Exactly what you want. Yeah. So don't disappoint Dylan.
And Dylan's got a couple of so he's got some exclusive components, some exclusive appointments, and some exclusive colors. So like you can't go to Casino Guitars and get an intergalactic Challenger with stop tail and tune-o-matic and block inlay and wood binding on the body and glow. You cannot buy that guitar anywhere else. And you absolutely can't get it with, pinstriping or any of the stuff that Dylan spec'd. That he wanted that as his own thing.
Yep.
You'd have to get whatever the one that Casino picks. Dylan picked his, and that's what there is.
Dylan wanted his own thing, and he wanted guitars that he thought his fans would like. And clearly
you guys do. So that's super cool. I'm excited. I cannot wait. Somebody's going to buy one with one P90 in the bridge. I bet you $100 worth of Popeye's gift certificates.
Pretty good deal.
It's a good deal.
We haven't been to Popeyes in
no, we haven't.
Years.
Let's go there for dinner.
It's been a long while. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, I want you to go over to Dylan's page. Of course, you'll check him out for the his live stream tonight. But check out his page and get your Challenger gasser model, your pre-order in. And Dylan asked me, pre-order sometimes means like we have to get this many orders. And Dylan will probably touch on this a little bit tonight. He's like, how many is the minimum? I'm like, you know what? If you get 1 or 21 or 51 or 101, that's fine. You know what I mean? Don't sweat it. So
I like some of those numbers better than others.
Just out of curiosity, which do you like better than others?
Well, I like, what did you say? 1,
21, 51, or 100.
I like all the middle numbers.
Yeah, doing 100
scares me, and 1 is, I mean, that's cool, but yeah, we've already done that.
Can you imagine
if done 21?
Sure.
So
can you imagine if Dylan's fan base ordered 100 guitars total, and they were all like custom spec? That's a lot of labor.
He'd be dealer of the year.
He'd be dealer of the year. We'd have to get a plaque made.
I don't know. Likes chasing him.
Yeah.
He's
right chasing him. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be, I mean, 101 guitars.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might need to bring back some, we might need some labor force.
Yeah. We'd have to hire
besides you and I.
Yeah.
Richard came by this week, and he was, so sometimes if you guys want and you're in the neighborhood, you're in the Denver area, and you want to stop by TTG, if you let me know and say, can I make an appointment to come in, we absolutely try to accommodate you, right? Don't just show up.
I thought we were going to have to bum rush him because I forgot all about it.
I don't know if you saw this, but it's written on the board. Tuesday at 16:30, Richard at the shop. And then he shows up at time. I totally spaced it out. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't read the board.
I know you don't.
I looked at I don't know why.
It's green and you didn't see it.
I think I thought that it was other old stuff up there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's up there. And so anyway, Richard came
if
by.
You change the door or the board every day, then I might start reading it. But when it gets a little stagnant, it's much like a website homepage.
The board is not as much for you as it is for me
That's what I mean.
Remember things.
Yeah.
So anyhow, let's see what's going on in the comment section before we jump into the big topic tonight. Let's see. Michael says that he loves his challenge. Oh no, he says it sounds like my Challenger. Graphite and Cigar says I love the neck pickup. Van Shank says Ben and Brian Duncan, what a pair. Ben Duncan, who's here, writes, yeah, that sounds nutty, but I guess you got to put tone first. You know why, Ben?
Why?
Metal. Yeah. Let's see. I think your dad's putting his pinky in his mouth for like a Austin Powers thing. That's probably happened before you were born.
Yeah, Dastardly Dave suggested a Web Lily battle.
Okay. Yeah. Lefty says if you buy 100 guitars, you get a free swanky hat. You do. I will personally drive back to Lukenbach and get you a hat. And yeah, so anyway, guys,
Pretty good deal.
Let's talk about our topic for tonight, Chris.
Okay.
And this is let's talk about why you are absolutely going to want to have a crazy guitar.
Okay.
Now, a crazy guitar doesn't necessarily mean, well, it could mean lots of things, right? Now, the thumbnail is a picture of my fellow alumni from Roberto Benz, Scott French, made that guitar in the thumbnail, and I love that guitar.
He didn't make that at Roberto Ben, though.
No, sir. I don't believe that he did.
No, it's not brown, so he didn't make it.
Well, although Scott French went to Roberto Ben much later than I, so he may have had one painted white.
I thought you went there then.
No, I think he went much later. I have never met Scott French, but so I can't really say my good friend Scott French. You know what I mean? That would be inaccurate. But I think that Scott French is a cool dude, and I really like his design. I don't even know if he's building guitars anymore, frankly. But that guitar in particular is one that inspired me I built something kind of like that one day. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember Design from Within.
Mm-hmm.
And you drew out a Strat.
So that I would have the rough dimensions.
Yeah, you needed some widths. And then you changed literally everything about the guitar.
Who bought what would become known as the Green Frenchie? I think Doug Santaniello owns the Green Frenchie.
He might. Yeah, we painted it Yingling green.
Yeah.
And it was really neat. We started it in a class.
I think that had those cuckoo pickups from Yingling, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it had those cuckoo pickups, the
those lace
sensor kind of like rod things. Yeah.
I forget what they call those. They're crazy light. Jazz guys like them.
Yeah, but they looked neat in that guitar.
They did.
So I drew that out because I thought it was part of a build your own body workshop that we did, and I drew it out and made it.
Yep.
Alongside the guys who were there in the workshop, but I loved that shape. And I didn't come up with it. Scott did.
Right.
But
and I don't think yours looked exactly like his anyway.
It was a little different.
Yeah. This is pretty offset.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember with the green. Have you seen pictures of the Green Frenchie lately?
I have. Yeah, I watched the video where we have all the guitars that we did.
Yeah.
And those are fun. It's funny because Facebook recommends stuff to me all the time. Our stuff, because it doesn't realize that I am part of us. And
so I see
videos of stuff that I'm like, I
forgot all about that.
That's really cool.
That was the video that we made for the 2019 NAMM show that we did, right?
Yeah,
it was just like a 10-minute video of pictures of stuff.
Yeah. And and
I forgot that was even a video.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Dano says that guitar is in England. I gifted it to a friend. Oh, well, that's cool.
There you go.
So Doug did have the Green Frenchie. Thank you for the super chat too, Doug. He's the buyer of the Green Frenchie. So who knows where that guitar is now? That could be, I don't know what time it is in England right now. That could be on stage right now.
8 hours.
I mean, maybe. I'm not sure. That's super cool. That was a neat guitar.
Yeah, it was neat.
Okay, so let's talk about
wraparound bridge on there. That was fun.
Yeah, we did put that on there, huh? So Chris, let's talk about now. There's a couple of reasons I want to talk about this. One is because I have my Hustler shirt on today.
That's badass.
It is badass. And the reason that I bought this shirt was see if you can guess why I bought this shirt.
I know, so don't. Because you're a huge fan of the magazine.
Actually, no, because Brad Pitt had a shirt not unlike this in Fight Club.
Okay.
Only his was white with, I think, silver letters.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it was really funny.
Because the Beaver Hunt shirt was sold out that day.
No, okay.
Something wrong in the world when the Beaver Hunt shirt's sold out.
I don't know why you guys have to always go to this like pornography thing, because there are other, Hustler is like a pool term or like billiards or stuff like that. It's not
in that font.
Listen, buddies.
Listen,
buddies. So I'm stealing this font for my new design that I am calling the TTG Hustler.
Okay.
And I'm not working around the clock on the Hustler models, but there are a bunch of them, and I think there will be. I tell you what, you probably saw it today, Chris. I got in the zone.
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah. So are you going to number them? You going to letter them?
I don't know
how. There are several. Without giving too much away, there are several different shapes.
Well, there's 3
that
right?
needs. I didn't want to say a number.
Okay, there's 300.
I don't know. Yeah, but
33.
There needs to be another designation.
Yeah, I don't think I could just say this one's the Hustler and this one's the Hustler A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
You could numerically differentiate them, alphabetically.
I think they're going to all need color. I think they're going to all need different names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not any of them are going to be any of the pornography.
The Hustler series.
There's going to be the Hustler, the Swank, and the Wee. And no, there's not going to be that stuff.
Jugs. This is the Jugs model. Why is that?
It's not going to be. No, I think so. So anyway, I think the Hustler is a cool. So I don't know if you guys know this, but back in the old days, there were a bunch of guitar names that I made. There was the Wheeler Dealer, which came from there was a motorcycle thing that was a set of forks that you could get, and the guy who made them, like, you would send him money and you didn't know when you were going to get the stuff because he was in jail, or he would make him when there's a whole video about him, and you could get.
Why not copy that?
You could get the Wheeler Dealer front end.
Why not copy that business model?
So, well, that's what I do. Yeah, you'll get it when you get it.
I was in jail for 6 months. Yeah.
I would think that if anybody would appreciate how long it takes to get stuff, it would be you. So we had the Wheeler Dealer. We had the Wicked Woman Stealer.
You did.
We had
we
had lots of different kooky.
I wanted you to name one the Mean Mistreater, and you never did.
Well, okay, we have the opportunity to do that. Let's take a super chat from Brian Duncan, who says the Hustler Honey of the Month. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but hi Sean, how are you doing? The Sean Emenheiser is a good guy. Lefty, the new Hustler model is shapely. The new models are shaped. Okay, so when we went to the Wood, Wire, and Volt show, we took all of our Challenger models, and we also took what would become Mike Beckloff. Actually, no, it was Mike Beckloff's cutaway icon. He bought it before we even went to the show, and I'm like, hey, you mind if we take this to the show? And very traditional guitars, except one of them was leopard.
Which started some conversations, which were really good conversations.
Now that's reason enough, isn't it, to have kind of a zany, crazy guitar?
Yep.
But I saw some other stuff that I was inspired by. I saw there was one guitar in particular. I'm like, that looks like a big guitar, but it's not a big guitar. I think that the Firebird and the Explorer and the RD are big guitars that look like big guitars, but I was inspired by this one that I saw that looked bigger than it was, if that makes any sense. And so that was sort of the genesis of what I'm calling the Hustler model. Why I'm calling it the Hustler model, I don't know, but I got this cool shirt. Me and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Right.
Hoping possibly to offend a little bit.
I think that
weeding out people that don't think that kind of thing's funny.
Well, I don't. Again, if you are so fixated on the pornographic connotation of the Hustler model, then that's kind of on you. Now, however, what I make when I make the SG and I call them the prostitute, there are lots of definitions that
there are.
Is it a verb or is it a noun? I mean,
and the story, the real story is fairly benign.
Do you know what the real story behind the prostitute guitar is?
It's a Yellowbeard.
It's from the movie Yellowbeard,
and it's there was a sailor named Mr. Prostitute.
That's right, which was just a lady with a phony mustache.
But there would be no women on board.
Yeah, that's right.
And blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they're checking everybody in. It was Mr. Prostitute.
Mr. Prostitute. Yeah.
Welcome aboard or whatever. So
also one of my very favorite of all time TV personalities, JJ the Boss, had a car that he called the Prostitute.
What did he call the car?
I think it had like a bunch of swanky paint on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all dolled up.
A bunch of hoochie paint. Yeah.
Leopard tights.
Sean says, "Hey Brian, are they pointy? I like pointy." Yeah, well, okay. I guess that's for Brian to tell you.
Don't say anything, Brian.
Sean says that I have a knack for naming guitars. Sean Emenheiser, not Sean Joint. Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. I like to think that I do too. Yep. Zed says crawl, crawl, stagger, stagger. So anyway, I think though that what I was noticing is there was a lot of even traditional stuff that is kind of zany and kind of pointy. So remember when, well, we don't remember, but we've heard stories of like in 1958, Gibson introduced the Explorer, which I think they actually introduced the Futura, the Flying V, and they may or may not have built a Modern. We don't know. But they were all fairly wacky, and they all kind of fell face first, and no, it didn't really go anywhere.
No, they were way too futuristic for 1958. I
want to say the Futura, the Explorer, which is what the Futura got morphed into, was a little less.
It was slightly thinner in the waist.
The Futura was,
and maybe even more sort of pointy.
Maybe
more aggressive.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But did the Futura have a kooky headstock? The Modern had the everyone's least favorite
going on too. So
the Futura might have had that one that was kind of a V shape, but offset. I can't remember what it had. You guys know.
Yeah, it was that offset.
Yeah, which I think looks cool on an Explorer. And I actually I should probably dig it out of the shed. I did Chris Ray's. I think he had an Explorer guitar that was he wanted the headstock reshaped to that, and so I did. Yeah.
Yep.
So I thought I've spent so much time making guitars besides the Green Frenchie that are traditional and round and guitar shaped. It's time to do one that is not really step out of my comfort zone. So I did a number of them. They're all it's kind of a series, and we're going to see what you guys think of them. And I got to tell you, I'm very much outside my comfort zone. I think is a very good way to put that. Still another way to put it is I don't like any of them. But that's not entirely true. You know what I mean? Because I worked, there's a bunch of drawings that got, wadded up, and there's a bunch that got left behind. And I think I've landed on some stuff that I'm actually fairly pleased with. And I'm hoping that you guys dig them. They're a ways out. Don't get anxious to see.
Don't start pestering Matt until late next week.
Yeah, easily.
Don't. Yeah.
And we're not going to show. We'll sell no wine before it's time.
Yeah, until they're done guitars.
But let's talk about like why you're going to want to have a zany or a crazy guitar. Greg Baker said that he's been playing his Paisley PRS guitar that we built in church. Now, you probably wouldn't want to play something called the Prostitute in church, or maybe even not the Hustler, but you want to play that at the Pooh Palace.
Don't worry, they had prostitutes back in the day.
Listen, I'm not wanting to get into down that road, but you could but a zany guitar is still a zany guitar. Now,
yeah. Well, there's different levels of zany.
Okay, now we're really getting somewhere. So, guys, I want to hear what you think about zany guitars and why you are going to want one. Chris and I are going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to read what you guys say. So let's if we're gonna shoot the breeze, let's start shooting. So what do you got anything on this, Chris? You had
so I own a couple of zany guitars. One of them
more than I thought.
I had in here earlier this week, and it's my Super Casanova with a blue floral fabric top.
I thought you were going to say your Yamaha Samurai.
Well, that's a little wacky.
It's
they made a lot
too.
of those, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean that, and my Super Casanova is one of my absolute favorite guitars, and not just because I made it, but I really like that guitar, and people. Jimmy looked at it and he's like, some of this guitar doesn't look like you, or doesn't seem like you. I
got to tell you, when you built this guitar, I'm like, this doesn't really seem like you at all.
You don't think?
Other than it's shaped like a Jazzmaster.
And it's got a Jazzmaster trim.
Okay, it does have that, yeah.
It's got pickups. I mean, it's got humbuckers in it that aren't humbuckers. They're very, they're single coil,
Are they like Jazzmaster pickups that have been bodged into a humbucker case?
Okay. Yeah. They're probably more like Strat pickups at this point. But I mean, they're single coil, but it's wacky and it's bright and it's not vintagey at all.
Yeah.
But it's really neat.
It's a cool guitar.
Yeah.
I love the Super Casanova, and there's more of those coming soon. Hey Brian, would you grab me one if you're up and about? Butch Landry says, I'm sorry, but as a woodworker, I'm drawn to the hippie wood guitars. Well, Butch, what if I told you we're going to be making some guitars that are a little zany looking with hippie wood?
Yeah.
Zed says that he played his Dayglow Pink Warlock in church. One of the all-time heavyweight champions of the world of zany guitars, of course, is Bernie Rico. I love
those guitars. Just look dangerous.
Almost every God bless you, Brian.
$6.
Almost every Bernie Rico guitar, I think I absolutely love. There were some that came out in the 80s, and I was kind of like, meh, I don't know about that. There was like the Virgin and like the Super Strat ones. I'm like, okay.
The funny thing was, they had, as soon as they started to try and get in on the 80s metal kind of a thing, and they had all sorts of fun names, but the Virgin, that's a stupid name.
Even I wouldn't call a guitar that.
Yeah, you're going the other
I'm going the other way.
Yeah,
I'm not making a guitar called the. I'm not even gonna say it.
Yeah. But I just thought, this is that they're sort of kind of selling out, and they had some crazy looking guitars, and some very, very kind of metal looking guitars without stupid names.
Jay Valente, who says show them to Patreon members first, and I will. Jay says it sounds like his it's going to be breaking his piggy bank again. Jay bought a very cool. He actually bought one of the neck through prostitutes, and he also bought a very excellent level 4 that I need to actually contact Jay. Jay, are we still using that not iron pyrite, that iron nitrite stuff on the neck? I think that we are. Sean says he likes zany guitars because they are not the norm. Sometimes they are really fun to play. Okay, Sean touched on something. Sean Joint. Let's come back to that. Let's put a pin in that. Sean Emenheiser says, I'm calling my model the Chick Magnet. Great name. Graphite and Cigar says Wild Audio has some crazy shit. Is that the Zachy Wilde one? Paul says, I always want to try one of those guitars made from a 57 Chevy tail fin. Supposedly the taillight would light up. I remember those. Ben Absani has a few too many strings for me. Zed says the Virgin was originally named the Scythe. Ben, who's here, says BC Rich has a great shape with all the worst names I've ever heard. The Shredzilla, that's pretty awful. Jay says, yeah, hope so if you're down for it. I'm absolutely down for it, Jay. I'm skimming ahead here. Sean Joint, who likes crazy shapes, is also a fan of hippie wood because I think he digs the BC Rich. Remember when he came out here, he built a BC Rich Warlock neck through.
So we talked a little bit about neck throughs and hippie wood and glue ups and stuff like that.
So Okay, so what Sean Joint said that really resonated with this conversation, and it's something that you and I have talked about for a long time, Chris, and that is we want to make some guitars that look like they're fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see them from across the room and go, "Oh man, I really want to play that."
Ooh, yeah. Can I play that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last time that we talked about on the live stream was when Carlos Lopez and
Curtis Novak.
Curtis Novak, thank you, were in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos is a mega fan of the Mosrite guitars. And I want to show you guys because it's not done yet. But Doug, if you're watching, get a load.
Slightly closer.
It's slightly. So Dylan sent us some really cool purple pickup covered. These are, I guess, Enduros.
Yeah.
Which are probably exactly the right pickup for this guitar. Yes.
Pretty much what I was thinking he was going to send us.
Okay.
And then he did.
So the guitar, of course, is purple, and the pickups are purple. So Doug, we've got to make a pick guard for this.
We do.
Doug, if you're watching, what color?
Very one-off pick guard.
What color pick guard do you want? Okay. So Carlos was asking about this guitar, and he's like, "Man, that guitar looks. It just looks cool. I just want to pick it up and play it."
Yeah.
Now, the guitars that I've been working on are not Mosrite copies. In fact, they're really not anything copies. But we want to make something that we want to see what people say. You know what I mean? Now, personally, I still think that the Challenger model, ooh, dude, especially the one you painted today, ooh, better get the birth control because that thing is really, really sexy. But it's very, very traditional.
Right.
And I still, to me, when I see that guitar, I'm like, that's okay. Yeah, give it. So anyway, but there are some people that just like a little kind of kooky shapes. And Sean pointed out the BC Rich, what Ben and him are going back and forth, like the Mockingbird and the Warlock. I'm going to ask you a question that I'm pretty sure I know the answer to already. And that is, I'm going to tell you what my favorite BC Rich shape is, and I want you to tell me what your favorite BC Rich shape is.
Okay, first of all, my BC Rich knowledge.
I know it's not your cup of
tea. And honestly, I don't even know most of the names.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like a lot of that stuff from the 70s, but I still think that one of my favorites is like the Eagle or the Seagull. The Seagull is nobody likes it.
Right.
Because it's kind of like an Eagle and it's kind of like a Les Paul, but there's a point on right here.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Bernie Rico's a classical player and he didn't want people to hunch over the guitar. So I'll just put a point there to keep you from doing that. I don't think that anybody ever played. There's there's probably a picture of like Al Di Meola playing one or something.
There's a Facebook group for that guitar, 3 members, but
yeah, for all 3 of the guitars.
Yeah. They mostly just talk about how they hate them.
I can't say. Wish they would have ground this point off.
Yeah. Cut it and flip it over.
So of course, but the Eagle is kind of almost Strat-like with kind of downturned horns. I love the Mockingbird. I think the Warlock was one of my all-time favorite ones.
Yeah.
The Ironbird was remember that it was extra pointy. CC DeVille, very, very.
Yeah, I mean, if we got out a picture
sure
of all the guitars, they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, I remember. But most of them, I just can't remember the names and the shapes and all of that. Now I remember some of them being pretty cool looking, and I like all that glued up, wood.
A bunch of them were neck through.
Right.
Yeah,
that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And
and lots of like koa and
yeah.
Really neat stuff.
But
so Chris, and I'm not talking about like one-off guitars that are made out of a toilet seat or shaped like a gigantic marital aid or anything like that.
All those.
But like what's some cool wacky guitars that you dig? I know you like the Yamaha Samurais
that's a fun guitar. Yeah. And I think there's lots of other guitars that have taken influence from that, although that guitar also has a lot of Rickenbacker in it.
Does
far
it?
as
Okay.
that lower horn with the, and wacky guitars. I like double necks.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a conversation piece,
crazy
right?
double necks.
Or three necks.
Or three necks, yeah. Yeah, stuff with lots of garnish.
Well, yeah, so like herringbone
sleeve guards and
guards sleeve guards.
Yeah. You don't want to tear the buttons off your nudie suit, so
no.
you gotta have a sleeve guard on there.
I think that if you look back to like lots of really cool, influential players, Billy Gibbons, of course, and Rick Nielsen stand out as like having probably the rival collections for like zaniness.
Yeah. Well, and I think they'll both get a guitar that looks 90% normal, except it's got one or two features.
It's got a little TV built into it.
Yeah, but like Billy Gibbons SG with a V headstock.
Very cool.
And it takes you a minute. And in some ways, I think, does he build these, or does he have these built for himself, or does he have these built for all the guitar nerds that are coming to the shows and watching him?
Yeah, or like the Billy Bo Jupiter Thunderbird, but reverse, so it's upside down. Like who did Bolin make that first, and he was like, "Yeah, that's cool," or did he go, "I want this," and he's just like, "Okay,
flip this upside down." That's actually a really kind of a cool thing. Yeah, I want to know why nobody's making that Bo Diddley Cadillac.
Also a very cool one.
Insane. It might be too big.
But it's longer and it's skinnier than the Jupiter Thunderbird, isn't it?
Skinnier at the neck end, but it's positively Titanic at the butt. Yeah.
Okay, so there are. Let's see. Sean says that Toast Ride is absolutely amazing. Thank you, sir. Ben says the BC Rich Eagle is sick. Let's see. Brian says the Seagull sucks. Okay, I guess you can have your opinion, as no matter how wrong it is, Brian. Dan says if you stand the Seagull on its strap button, it looks like a rubber ducky. Okay. The rubber duck guitar could be cool. Are you talking about like the Convoy rubber duck guitar or the actual squeaky bath toy?
I think the squeaky bath toy that they sell down the river.
Zed says, I'm surprised there aren't more Aldo Nova Les Pauls. Now let's talk about that. Gosh, the Les Paul with the Explorer headstock is essentially what that is. I don't know the history of that.
Yeah.
I know more about the Gibson Moderne, which may or may not have ever existed in 1958, but definitely did in 1982. 217 of those were made. But the Aldo Nova Les Paul with the Explorer headstock, that's not a thing that you can just take an Explorer neck and graft it onto that body. You have to do a little more to get it to work.
Yeah.
Because the Les Paul, maybe not that much more, but it's not a one-to-one thing. I think you have to make that neck for the Les Paul.
Could you cut up a Les Paul headstock and do that?
Maybe.
I think you could.
I think that that's probably how they did it. But I know Gibson actually made a couple.
In a world where Les Paul headstocks snap off every day.
I believe. I know Rick Nielsen has one.
Yeah.
And who knows if they came from the factory? Brian, do you know?
I don't. I have one.
I know you have one because you made one. But if you just took a Les Paul, say you worked at Gibson, and you had a Les Paul body, and you had an Explorer neck, they don't go on exactly right. For one thing, that they join in different spots.
Right.
For another thing, the tenon needs to be longer on a Les Paul than on an Explorer because the pickups are in different spots. So, you could just, if you worked at Gibson, you have all the technology to make one. But I think those probably were like custom one-off things, and I would bet you that the first one, and I could be completely wrong here. I would bet you that the first one was the headstock broke on this Gibson. send it back, put a different neck on it, but this time put an Explorer head. So I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know if the Aldo Nova was a custom. Like, did it have 5-ply binding and binding on the back too, or was it a standard? And then they put a. I have no idea, but
was
those
it
were
even a Gibson?
I think it was. How about this? If you don't know, just because it says. My absolutely favorite Les Paul story is not a real Les Paul. So, yeah. Paul says, speaking of double necks, I love the Hamer Uncle Dick guitar. That's a cool one too. I bet you no one says Uncle that no one gives him grief about calling his guitar Uncle Dick. Well, I wear a Hustler shirt, and yeah, I have to. Yeah,
I don't know this. The Uncle Dick.
That's the one that looks like Rick Nielsen.
Oh,
yeah, it's him, and the necks are his legs. Yeah.
Okay.
Sean Emanizer says there should be more guitars shaped like whiskey bottles, and I would think Michael Anthony would agree with you. So, what's one of the coolest zany guitars ever made, do you think? And why is it the Flying V? I think that one has probably stood the test of time, maybe better than any
the
zany
funny thing about the Flying V is I mean, it's probably the first radically. There were guys making crazy ass shaped guitars, but no big company said, you know what? Let's make this
like this
wedge looking thing, that looks nothing like a guitar, other than it has 6 strings and tuners.
I think that if Gibson were pioneers of the Flying V, gosh, every guitar company made one, including Fender.
Say that again.
If Gibson pioneered the shape of the Flying V, and I'm not, and maybe somebody did them before that, I don't know. But if Gibson is well known for being the pioneer of the V-shaped guitar,
then everybody has made some sort of variation of a V.
Yes, including Fender.
Yes, yeah,
and that, of course, is the Fender Katana.
Yes.
It's not really a V; it's more of a Gibson or Fender triangle.
Except it's offset a little bit, but it's still got V wings.
Yeah, of course. I think Dean got in trouble for making those. I'm pretty sure Hamer made them. Although the Hamer standard was an Explorer shape.
Yeah, which is funny. This is our standard.
Yeah, this is the standard model.
Really?
Obviously Jackson and Charvel and all those guys made Vs. And everybody else made Vs. I think that the coolest V, I think you and I will absolutely 100% unequivocally agree on the coolest example of the Flying V of all time.
Lonnie Mac's Flying V.
Yeah, the Lonnie Mac one with the Bigsby. Although
the Bigsby and the
actually, as I was saying that, I was like, oh, you might say the Albert King one with the regular Les Paul or SG style headstock.
Yeah, that's fun too.
Those are my favorite. Yeah. But yeah, far and away the Lonnie Mac V with the Bigsby and the little aluminum
tailpiece on there. Yeah. Man, you got to really want to have a Bigsby on there to do that. Oh, I got this Bigsby. I got this Flying V. Yeah, why would I not?
Have you seen the Lonnie Mac one? Yeah, I mean, it's got to go somewhere.
Right.
So
you're gonna have it.
And I bet you, I want to say that Lonnie Mac was like, yeah, I just wanted that Gibson, and it was the cheapest one because nobody wanted that. I don't know.
Recently,
isn't it like serial number 3?
Yeah.
Okay, Paul has a good one here. The Ovation Breadwinner.
Oh my Lord, I love that guitar.
Very, very, very cool.
Yeah, the Preacher and the Breadwinner.
Preacher and the Breadwinner.
I have actually thought, because there are online files that you can get for that guitar, of making one of those. I
would think that Ben Duncan would be all about the Ovation Breadwinner because of its ergonomic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think of. Yeah. I'm gonna have to excuse myself.
I think the Ovation. Well, somebody else come here. We got people in the shop. Well, Chris is. Come on, come and stand in. We need a stand in. We need a seat warmer. Okay, Brian. I know you've been chomping at the bit to tell everybody about why you think everyone is going to absolutely want to have a crazy shaped guitar.
I'm a crazy shaped guitar fan
or crazy paint guitar. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, crazy paint's good too. And yeah, I don't know who's a better guy to do that than Chris Fester.
Well, okay, but why would you have a bunch of zany guitars? Some of them are zany shaped, some of them have kooky paint, some of them have custom paint. It's not kooky as much as it's custom, one of a kind stuff. Why do you think what
I just like unique looking guitars. I love all guitar. I love guitars, period. I have a problem.
We're getting down to the meat and the potatoes of this topic.
Yeah.
Because
lead me.
Okay, I'm gonna. If you have sometimes an accessory, you see that thing first. And I think that a guitar is like that.
I think so.
When you see Angus Young, you see that SG first. Now, I'm not saying that the SG is wacky, but you see that guitar before you see that man.
Yeah, it screams.
You know what I mean?
His name, yeah.
Yeah. You see Bo Diddley. You see that guitar, that big square thing first. You see that coming. Mm-hmm. And I think that if you can get something that's unique and personalized to the player, that becomes a part of them. That becomes part of their story that they tell before you even talk to them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's like a hat. No, don't go anywhere. It's like a hat or a t-shirt that says Hustler on it or anything like that. It's something that announces your presence way before you walk in the room.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You've got that Explorer that Mike Learn painted with the Colorado flag on it. It's like, when I think of you, I think of that guitar, even though you've made like a dozen guitars here with me. That's the one that that's the image of you that has hijacked my brain.
I still go back to that guitar because it's very unique. And that's the main.
Because you built a Flying V, and you built a
It's also like you. I have a love for Gibson guitars, and it's a Gibson guitar first and foremost. But then when you put that, because it used to be like this, it was almost a TV yellow. It was kind of a lighter.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, and it was cool, but it didn't stand out. It was just another Explorer,
just like somebody else probably.
Yeah, but when I put that paint, and I always loved playing that guitar. When I put the paint job on it, that was it. That was my number one. Until I came here and made the PRS, which is not a zany shape, but I did thanks to Ben's idea, the peanut butter and jelly purple fade.
You did the Uptown fade where it goes from one
purple to
back to
natural,
front. Okay, yeah.
And it looks like a freaking peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So it's a very unique guitar again, and now that's kind of my number one. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's a cool guitar, man. Yeah. And nobody else has that because you made it. Right. So there you go, gang. I want to know what you guys think. If you haven't put it in the comment section, please do. And if you want to leave me comments, send me some emails about why you like wacky guitars. And one asterisk is a very cool, Mike. I'm going to have to go back and read your comment because I think that you and I might be speaking the same language here. But yeah, an accessory like a guitar or like a hat or like I don't know, like a really cool car or something like that.
Yeah, peg leg or
a peg leg. Yes. Yeah. Like a peg leg.
Wacky ones.
So I love zany guitars. You know, the Challenger is that you can custom order a Challenger from Dylan and you can make it your own. You can go and drop down the drop down menu. And if you call Dylan, he'd probably be like, okay, yeah, you want this thing? It's not on the menu. Yeah, fine. Right. But I'm anxious to see what people come up with that stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. I always look forward to hanging out with you guys. I look forward to going out to eat with y'all tonight. And we've got only a few more moments left. And I want to encourage you to maybe go over to Dylan's page and fill out the form and order your do your pre-order of your Gasser guitar, because it's going to stand out. You're going to stand out in the crowd from the crowd. You're going to have something that nobody else has. And I definitely want you to go over to his YouTube page, hang out with him and his lovely wife, Leslie. And they're going to talk for I don't know, an hour about guitar stuff, and then an hour or however long they talk about,
candles.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to talk about, but I want you to go over there and hang out with them. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to go get food. I have no idea what we're going to get. It's kind of up in the air. I have no idea where we're going.
Chicken, beef.
Chris, is there a reveal tomorrow? Yes, there is. Dan, there is a reveal tomorrow. There is a Santa Claus tomorrow. And until then, guys, this is Matt at Texas Toast, reminding you that life is too short to have a regular guitar. You might as well get something that's custom made, right, Brian?
Or one of each.
Take us home, brother.
That's it, baby.